Hey, how you guys doing? Everything cool? Check out this thing. Nice, huh? So I've got the garage door open. It's a beautiful day. It's about, excuse me. Wait, hang on a second. Every time I cough, I got to wear this. I've got a scratch in my throat, so I apologize if I'm going to cough a bit. No, I don't have it. The garage door is open. It's a beautiful day. It's about 70 something degrees here in Los Angeles, California. The weather is perfect. It stopped raining. What an amazing day to go play paintball. Wah, wah, wah. Oh, well, that's not going to happen until May the 15th on our end. Yeah. I don't know if that's the international green light day or whatever, but here in LA, they said another month, May the 15th. Oh, well. What are you going to do? Hey, until that time, my job is to spread joy and happiness and cheer and make everybody not forget about our amazing sport while you guys are in captivity. So we're going to just keep on cranking out the shows. Again, you guys, listen, if you want to come on the show, I don't care what you do, who you are. If you're in our paintball community, come on the show. We'll make a time slot for you. And and that's it. You're in. So let me know. Today's show is sponsored by, there it goes. Look at that. Well, that's tonight's show, but that's always the show. Sponsored by Make Your Own Tracks Wear. That's Mr. Goodeve's new clothing line. You can find them on Make Your Own Tracks Wear on Facebook or .com. And if you use the code Reaper, you'll get a 10% discount. So it's nice, huh? All right. Our guest today is a, let me see. He's a celebrated author. He's a chef. He has run 18 marathons. Oh, shit. I'm reading the wrong card. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. No, you guys, you know who this is. Oh my God. Wait a minute. I was reading the wrong card about your intro. I'm sorry. I'm just joking. Hey, wait a minute. I got the wrong Honu. This one doesn't have this one doesn't have facial hair. No. Oh my God.
I definitely also didn't run any marathons either.
What's up, brother man?
Not much. How are you?
Here I'm going to give you some Hollywood bullshit. My day is now complete that I've seen you.
Cool.
How's that? Does it make you feel better? Does it make you feel good? Right. That's our Hollywood bullshit here. Anyway, listen. Oh, Mamma Mia. Yeah. So it's been a crazy couple months with this thing. But what I want to do is I want the community to get to know you better. A lot of people know you as the turtle drink. What is that stuff called?
Turtle juice. Yeah.
Turtle juice guy. They know you as Living Legends guy. They know you as the game producer, whatever else. I want to get you kind of a little bit more of a rounded picture of who you are, what you do for our sport, and basically you're going to help us get everybody cheered up. How's that?
I like that.
You like that idea?
Yeah.
All right. So excuse me. Seriously, I don't have it. I'm just choking on something. But here's the deal. Yes, I read the wrong card. I know you haven't run 18 marathons. You might be a chef. I don't know. I don't know if you're a New York Times best-selling author, but we're gonna find out. So let me see if I can find something here. Where is that? Is this it?
Oh, geez, nice.
Look at that, huh? Who is okay? Now let's play. Guess where Honu is? I'm gonna go for bottom right.
No, that's actually my best friend Jeff.
Damn. Okay. Next choice would be middle in the couch.
No, I'm bottom left.
Bottom left. That's you?
Yeah, with the Coke can right by me. That's me.
What happened? I'm just joking. You were so beautiful. I'm joking.
I had that great Mo haircut. It was stylish.
All right, brother, man. So let's start around there. Where were you born?
I was born in Palatine, Illinois, which is northwest suburbs of Chicago.
Okay. So let me use CPX, old CPX, or let's use let me see, Paintball Explosion as a reference point. Where is that? Where are you?
About an hour north of CPX there, and about 20 minutes east of PBX.
Nice. Okay, cool. All right. And born and raised there?
Yeah, stayed there till I was 18. Graduated from Palatine High, and then went up to University of Wisconsin up in Oshkosh for college.
Ooh, okay.
Which
Let me
is
ask you
where-
this. Oh, well, go ahead. Go
But
ahead.
I was gonna say that's where I actually first started playing on organized paintball fields, was up near Oshkosh.
Very cool. Okay. Family's background. Do you know your heritage?
Irish and German.
Seriously. Okay.
Mhm.
And they came to Michigan to
Uh,
make the,
the Irish part of the family is about the only part that anybody ever traced, and they came over, kind of went through Canada, went down through Minnesota, and then ended up in the Chicagoland area.
nice. And did the family in Michigan, were they like in the steel business? Was that I thought everybody was in that business there.
No, that in Minnesota they came down. Most of my family were
The Minnesota part. Right?
bankers or in the clergy. Actually,
Seriously.
had a lot
Okay.
of great aunts and uncles that were nuns and priests.
Seriously.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Because I'm always interested because we kind of are like a package of our ancestors. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
What kind of influenced you? What did your parents do?
My mom is a nurse, and my stepfather does real estate
Okay. So
in the Palatine area still.
nice. So being a nurse, would you say you were kind of raised in a caring environment that you like people and I'm going somewhere with this.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I mean, my mom had to work a lot of hours, so she wasn't actually like around the house all that much. She worked like 2 jobs to
Yeah.
to help pay the bills. So we had to do a lot of kind of learn. We learned a lot from like the older guys in the neighborhood. I had older friends, and
Right.
the old man across the street, always working on his car kind of guy. Those were kind of the influences I had on my life.
Nice. The reason I'm asking, there are sheep and then there are sheep herders. You are a sheep herder. You are one of our entrepreneurial kind of like, get it done kind of guys. And I'm always trying to find out like about people's backgrounds of why there are some people who just are content just to sit. And then there are other people who are like, let's get this thing done. And you're one of the get the things done guys. And I always want to know why. And again, maybe I'm not saying you were a latchkey kid, but maybe you were a kid that had to get things done basically by yourself.
No, I was definitely a latchkey kid. We came home from school and had to let ourselves in and kind of get ourselves organized. And mom would like cook like meals for us for dinner on Sunday, and then you'd eat the leftovers for the week kind of thing. So you did have to get real self-sufficient at what you were doing and figure your way through things. So
Nice.
there wasn't a whole lot of, if I wait long enough, somebody else will do it for me. That just wasn't much of an option. So
Right. Okay, and so that's applied to today. I mean, or that's
Mhm.
basically the rest of your life, which is great. And you guys, I want you to understand that too, is that a lot of things that, if kids are watching or whatever else, you're going to obviously be influenced by your parents or the guy down the street that's fixing the car or whatever else. And that will actually guide you, as to the kind of person you're going to be. But you also care about people though, too. That's what I'm saying though. There's something about you that when, let me see, I've met a lot of people in our community, and some people don't, and majority of us do care about other people. But in the position that you're in as a game promoter, you're juggling, you're wearing a lot of hats. And the thing is though, you've got to really care about what you're doing and the people, that you're doing it with. And that's what I'm saying. There's something that came from your background that, that kind of made you that caring person. So, I was trying to thank somebody, whoever it is. I was going to thank them, but if it's the whole neighborhood, I'll have to thank them.
Yeah, it's the whole experience. I mean, when I went up to college, kind of got a little off the path of the way I wanted to end up living my life, but got back on it, and through that kind of adversity and that kind of stuff, now I look at every day as a good gift, and I just really enjoy. Hey, I woke up this morning, sweet, gonna be a good day kind of attitude towards stuff.
That is, you've got a very, I don't want to say Hawaiian, but what is it? I mean, you kind of gravitate towards that kind of feeling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's kind of funny that it's just sort of been a thing. I've been very lucky. there's a great old school paintball player, pump player from Hawaii named Brandon, who kind of grabbed hold of my wife and I early in our playing around like the CPX time and stuff like that at Legends and stuff, and kind of always said that he adopted us because we had an attitude that he would relate it to like being Hawaiian, and we're not Hawaiian in any way, but kind of them, and in a weird way, a whole bunch of friends that we've met that are Hawaiian sort of adopted us, saying a lot of the same idea that the big family first, take care of each other, very group mentality, and the answer is kind of always yes when it comes to taking care of people.
I like it. Well, you know what? I mean, we're born how we're born. We have no choice in the matter, but sometimes our soul is gravitating towards something else. You know what I'm saying? Some people are Jewish and they think, man, I just love Ireland. There's something, right? There's a lot of times that people just gravitate towards something and you find it, and it basically grounds you. You know what I'm saying? It makes you that person. So that's what I've always saw in you. I'm always sending DJ turtle pictures and turtle pictures. Anyway, all right. So you go up to Oshkosh,
right?
Wisconsin. Okay. What was the major?
History, actually.
Dude, I didn't see that. I'm a big history buff too. I didn't know that about you. Do you have a time period that you gravitate towards?
I kind of focused on and specialized in like World War II. I was very interested in military history more than anything else, and like not only the tactics of like the military stuff, which is kind of easy to follow and that kind of stuff that you get into, but why things happened.
Wow.
Why did D-Day work when everything about it says it shouldn't have worked?
Right, exactly.
Kind of thing, like literally everything part of that thing, there's just no way that should have worked. And it did. And it's more of finding the flaws in like September 11th. If somebody told you on September 10th, everything that was going to happen on September 11th, you wouldn't believe them because it's so far-fetched.
Right.
And then it did.
Right.
So that kind of stuff.
There was they did a pre-D-Day in England to test it out, and they lost so many men. I mean, there was
went horribly wrong,
right? And then there was a raid on Dieppe in Norway that they tried as well, and that went horribly wrong. So they used all these experiences, and you're right. I mean, they had this little window of opportunity with the clouds and opening everything like that to do D-Day, and it actually, it worked out. And because we were fighting Hitler, he was like our best general because he was
right. And that's what I meant by like the mistakes that were made.
Exactly.
Were probably more influential on that working than the positive things that the guys did from the Allied side. Like the Allies' plan was the Allies' plan, and it was only as good as the opportunity that they had, but just colossal mistakes on the other side, and things they didn't know, where literally almost all the planes from the area had been moved to the Eastern Front in Russia because that was going so bad for them. And we didn't even know that at the time. We had thought there'd be a certain amount of this, and they literally had almost no air. We didn't have to worry about air cover as much as we could. And so while the weather window closed and we couldn't put air cover over there, it didn't matter, because they didn't have any planes anyways.
Dude, and this is so great. I mean, I used to watch the History Channel so much. My wife would call it the Hitler Channel because she's like, Hitler again. But yeah, I'm super, super into that time period as well. But the interesting thing though is that it influences our lives when we play paintball, when we do our, whatever we do. There's actually a famous quote by Napoleon that goes, never interrupt your enemy when he's making a mistake. And so I'm always using that when I play paintball. If like I'm letting the other guy, make the mistake and come to me and whatever the situation is. So yeah, we use that. But you know what? Again, there are some people that don't like history. They just think it's very dry and numbers and whatever else. But the ones that do are like, it actually influences our lives. And it's really a powerful thing.
You got to get past where they're trying to make you memorize dates.
Exactly.
Because that's no fun for anybody. Nobody enjoys that part. The simple, what date did this happen? You need to know the exact date, the year. Nobody likes that. And then that's what draws a lot of people off of it. Right. I'm a big believer in, I learned from studying that stuff that, like you said, with paintball, when it was coming as a player, like when I commanded any game and stuff like that, I tried to give the other side what they wanted to see so I could get them to do what I wanted them to do.
Right.
So I could be successful at what I want to do. I try more or less, this is what they're going to expect to see. So let's let them see that. But why, and let them react the way I want them off of that. So, go with that direction. The whole idea is to kind of suck them into, get them where you want them to be so you can do what you want to do around them.
Right. I agree 100%. It's crazy. Is that you?
Yeah, that's Paulie, actually, my boss. Paulie. Paulie's messaging me something right now.
Tell him hello.
Yeah, hang on. Let me just mute that for now. I'll hit him back in a minute.
No worries. All right. So, okay. How old were you when you went to Washgosh? I can't even say it. That's some kind of Indian name.
18. I graduated high school and went right to college up at Oshkosh.
So you didn't fuck around. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't? Okay, good. Because a lot of people like, I can go back when I want to kind of thing. You jumped right into it.
Yeah. What had happened was I had struggled in high school and they decided that I had dyslexia through some testing and stuff, which in reality, that's what they kind of was the catch-all at the time.
Yeah.
Kind of like ADD is now,
exactly.
kind of sort of. And in reality, it's probably closer to having more like a HD, AD, that kind of thing is probably what I really have is some attention deficit. Anybody that spends 5 minutes with me realizes I'm kind of an airhead, and flighty would be a good way to say it. But that is probably more what it was. But Oshkosh had the best non-private school in the country for that. And I tested and met the requirements. So they brought me in there that would help me with it, help me learn how to kind of, you can't really defeat it as much as you can learn to work around it.
You work with it basically, right?
Yeah. This is part of your life. Here's how you can learn how to use your brain. Your brain works differently. Use that to your advantage as opposed to disadvantage.
How old are you?
I am 49.
49. Okay, so I'm 58. I think 58. I think I'll be 58 or 59. I'm not sure. Anyway, so we're kind of like in the same generation, like in the 70s kind of thing, right? I grew up obviously in the 60s, and then in the 70s when I was going to school, it was kind of the same thing. They would give kids Ritalin because they didn't know what to, if you were hyperactive or if like I was a bit dyslexic, or I basically had the same things, right? We all had this kind of something, we weren't all Einsteins basically. And they didn't know what to do with us. Like, sometimes they'd put you in a special class. Sometimes I think by the time they finished experimenting on me, they got around to you guys. And then they were like, kind of, we've refined how we can deal with people, you know what I'm saying? Instead of electroshock, not that I had that, but, they just didn't know what to do with people. So, yeah.
And they never tried to medicate me. They were already they kind of had that. They went out of it. And then they kind of came back again in the last 10 or 15 years medicating kids again. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah, because there was that they never ever attempted to use medication on me. Just kind of more of a, like you said, like I had special classes that I went to that had a little bit more one-on-one training, and somebody literally did be like, "Hey, come on, back to the paper, focus." Because that was my problem. I would just, oh, look, something shiny, and that's legit a thing for me.
Right, I know, and you're right. We don't get rid of it. I mean, I'm not saying I hide it. I explore it. I just say, hey, this is how I am. You know what I'm saying, kind of thing. And we just have to deal with how we are, and people just accept you or they don't. You know what I'm saying? And I'm also thinking also that again, you've got a big heart, and if you had ADD, or if you were like an asshole and just like fuck you, then people were like. No, but we do have that kind of a shiny object syndrome sometimes. And we just like, okay, we know how to focus kind of thing.
Yeah. And I think if you're true to who you are, then people respond to you real well. Like, we all know people that are like one guy when they're in front of people and another guy when people aren't around or they don't think anybody's watching. People have kind of a split personality sometimes.
Right.
When I was first kind of getting going in paintballs, we were kind of sitting in a group one day and somebody had mentioned something to a friend of mine. They're like, this character that Honu's put together, this nice guy thing, nobody's doing that. Everybody else is, kind of controversial, but this whole really being a nice guy all the time to everybody, that's a good trick. And my guy's like, that's not a character, dude. That's what he is. That's what he does.
Dude,
Kind of a goody two shoes that way, and I don't care.
Dude, I like it. I like it 100%, dude. Okay, so you go to college. You're taking history as a major, right?
Yep.
Did you complete the 4 years?
I did not. I ran out of money.
No, dude,
Right.
are you serious?
Yeah, I ran out of money, got a job, started working a job. Like I said, that's kind of when I got into that little. When I went off, I was actually a bouncer at a strip club.
No way.
Yeah, it was my job, and I got into that lifestyle and everything that goes around with it, and the drinking and the partying, and you get off work at 2, but that means you're partying until the sun comes up, and I did all that, and I had a fine time, but it wasn't a great lifestyle, and a lot of negatives were part of that whole thing too, and eventually, the funny thing is, the best thing that ever happened is I broke up with the girl that I was kind of dating that was running through that lifestyle with me. And shortly after that, I actually met Lonnie, who, who's now my wife.
That's amazing. That's a great story.
Yeah.
Hang on a second. You know what? Someone's got a question for you. Hang on. So we're going to get to the paintball in a second. They've got a question for you.
Okay.
Hang on a second. Let me, if
it's the beard, it's going to grow back. I shaved it off just as kind of a joke.
Back? Okay. Hold on. Pop this up. There we go. Right.
Yep.
Okay, cool. And she's a really cool cat. She's she's not even the yin to your yang. She's actually, you guys are just like one pair. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. When not all that long ago, when I was still playing and not producing games, I was the first person. I got very lucky, and Empire, I was the very first individual player they ever sponsored. Shortly before you had kind of come along, and Mad Frog and other people like that, I was the first one that they took a chance on to do that. And when they were working out the deal of what they were going to be able to do sponsorship wise for me, one of the great paintball players all time, Travis Lemansky, was part of PI at the time and was part of the discussion. And he's telling kind of the higher ups, Billy and some of those guys are like, and whatever you do for him, you got to double it, because he doesn't go anywhere without Lonnie. That's just their pair. They only travel together. They're always together. And Billy's like, oh my God, all right, fine, whatever. And but he did it. So that's just how we are.
That's a special bond to have. I mean, seriously, there's you guys basically came into the sport before you were in the sport, right? I mean, basically you met each other and you guys joined the sport before you guys knew about the sport.
Well, I had a great friend named Rick Albright who had kind of keyed me into paintball, and we had first started trying to kind of get into it right before I left for college. Okay. Hadn't played anywhere organized, but just kind of got into the whole, wow, this is cool, because we used to chase each other around with these like rubber dart guns, not the long ones, but they had these little rubber bullets. We used to, shoot each other with those things and have BB gun wars and all the stuff that, you at that age makes sense. At this age, you were hoping your kids don't do. Right. And we'd done that, and I got off to college, and I'd kind of ordered a bunch of stuff through the mail, not even really knowing what I needed, just because I'm like, I just knew I was going to get into this sport. And I got some guys from my fraternity to go with me, because I found a place that was only like an hour away. And I played very well the very first time I played. I had pretty good beginners. Like I understood how the game worked and why it worked and what people were going to do. And I played very well the first game. I'm not trying to sound like cocky or arrogant or anything like that in the least. I played very well the first game, and I'm like, yep, this is it. This is the greatest thing. And I'd been doing competitive sports my whole life. And at the time I was actively doing like competitive taekwondo matches.
Wow.
Not like MMA, like the stuff you see in the Olympics where you're really playing tag with your feet in your hands. It's not the same thing. It's not an MMA fighter would have kicked and would still kick the hell out of me, because they fight. I was playing tag with my hands and feet. Right. So, nothing like that. We did some board breaking, and then, we did the fighting competition. And the problem was even by the time I was getting into my mid-20s, the recovery time for you after a tournament was tough. It really beat on your body. And paintball was the even a better adrenaline rush. The whole I'm hunting you, you're hunting me. It's a game of chess, and trying to set each other up for the win kind of thing. And I just got way into paintball. It was just the coolest thing I'd ever tried.
Dude, it's just like that. It's that weird thing that I'm always trying to explain to people that have never played, or when we try to talk about like that, when we drank the Kool-Aid and we got that first thing. I'm always saying that it's this kind of like primal thing of like, it when we were like in the caves kind of thing, and where we were hunted or being hunted, and there was just something, because even as kids when we're growing up, like you just said about the BB stuff, we play cops and robbers, cowboys and Indians, whatever you would call it, and it was hide and seek, even basically the same thing. We always have had that kind of thing, and then when paintball came around, it kind of just glued everything together, and it was like, that's it. And then the people that find it, or you go to a paintball game and they like bring in these kids that are like birthday parties, bar mitzvah, whatever, and maybe two of them, you see their eyes like, oh my god, and the other kids are like, yeah, I'm gonna go play hockey or something like this. Those two are the ones that you like. They just like they zone in. They're like, oh, this is it.
It just clicks in. Like I just saw a post just the other day by Daryl. Daryl Trent didn't put it up, but he commented on it. I think it was Lane Wright put it up, and Daryl Trent was talking about it, and he's like, before and after a match, I love everybody. I'm the friendliest guy in the whole wide world. Like DJ, when I'm producing the games, the guy that you guys know, when I'm producing the games, I want a nice, even competitive game. I don't care who wins. I want to make it hard on you. I want you all to have just a really good time. When I'm playing, I'm still a nice guy, but I want my points. I want your points. I want points that aren't even in the game. Right. And it's cutthroat. I'm still nice about it. I don't cheat and I'm not dirty about it, but I absolutely want to beat you really badly. Right. And run you right off the field if I can. Like, I don't want to win by a point. I want to win. I want all of it. Because it's just a competitive thing. Right. And it's funny because Daryl Trent said the exact same thing. He's like, I love every one of these guys. I would do anything for any of these people, except from when the horn blows to start the match to the horn blows and ends the match. At that point, I don't like you. Now, that's not me. That's him. He's like, I don't like you, and I want to rip your head off. He's like, in the second it's over, I love you again. But when we're competing, I have to learn not to take that part personally, because when I'm out there, I'm not playing that way. I'm not even a competitive person, and that's why I go hug my opponents, or I give them the Reaper cards or that kind of stuff. But sometimes when I go up to give people a card, they go, get the fuck away from me. What the fuck are you doing? I'm like, and then they come after me. They come over to me afterwards. They go, dude, I'm sorry, I was in my zone. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm playing it different. Yeah. See, my switch goes off the second I get hit. The second you hit me, I'm one of the first guys. The thumbs up, great shot. Yeah, played with me, seen me do that. Yeah. It doesn't mean 2 seconds before I am trying to blast your head off, and I really want to hit you. Right. I want to win. But the second I am disengaged because I've been hit, I'm marked out, or you're gone. Right. Even if it was a good battle, I'll say something across to the guy. I've never understood the whole get out, get the fuck out, all those kind of guys. Like, I just don't get that.
Dude, I don't, and
like, you're taking it too seriously. You're missing what we're doing here, man.
Dude, I know. Listen, when I go play at my home park at Hollywood Sports Park, what happens is a lot of times the Bear might have like an actual tournament going on, and then it will end into the rec ball area, right? And these guys are just destroying the walk-ons and the newbies and stuff like that, because they had that mentality of already playing tournament 10 minutes ago, and now they're doing the same thing with the newbies and the walk-ons. And I'm coming up to them and go, you can't do that, man. You can't destroy these people. They've come to play and stuff. Fuck you, get out of my face. This is how you play paintball. And I said, no, it's not. You don't do that here. You know what I'm saying? No. So I sometimes I've had conversations with people, and then because of who I am, and then the refs know me, they break it up and they tell the guy, listen, go over there and sit down and cool down. But you know what? People get heated. And when you mix speedball guys in with rec ball guys, when you're playing in a big game kind of thing, things happen sometimes. And I stopped taking it personally. I was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and I respect that, and not all tournament guys are like that. And like my two favorite players probably, or three favorite players, they're all from Infamous, because those are guys we pitted for them. We actually kind of went with them, and I've known them for a really long time. I mean, I'm like the worst sports fan ever because I like everybody. Like, I just like watching the beauty of the whatever the competition is.
Right.
I don't watch golf, but I watch the Masters and I root for whoever. Exactly. I'm really happy for the guy that wins because you did something.
Yeah, exactly.
And I distinctly remember like Nicky Cuba and like Bobby Avilas when they were on the team. Boy, when that horn went off and you're in the pits and you're pitting for them, they are not nice people. And they're two of the nicest human beings on the planet.
Right. Yeah.
but not when they're at work. You know, the hat turns around, they're in game mode, and they're yelling, they're screaming, they're yelling at their own people. They're just full on, you know,
Which
full
is,
as amped as you can be. And then it just like a switch. They're also
and
the
that's
first two
how
guys to thank you for helping.
I need to probably look at it that way, because when you're playing with these guys, listen, I go to NXL a lot, and I walk around the pits, and I know, Greenspan, I know Russian League. And then when they're not on, they're not waiting they're not on deck. They're really cool like this. But then when I try to talk to them, and they're like, right. Like right now, I'm like this, it's their job. I mean,
Ryan is probably the only person on the planet that has a smile on his face more than me when he's not playing NXL. Like I've gotten Ryan came out to Hawaii last year and played at our event out there.
Oh, nice.
And just happy, brought his beautiful girlfriend and daughter, and it was great. And he was smiling and happy and just being Ryan. And it was a great relief for him. And Archie Montemayor came out also, and it was one of his first experiences really dealing with me at my work. Like I've seen him at his work and interacted with him at his job in the NXL, but it was the first time coming up by me, and I'm like, we need nothing from you. You don't have to post anything. We're not asking you to do anything.
Right.
Just go remember why you first picked up a paintball gun.
Wow.
Go out and play.
Yeah.
Find that fun. Do something stupid because you're not going to hurt your team. There's 200 people out here. If you get shot, it didn't ruin it for your whole side. As opposed your business, you get shot out in your job.
Right.
You just put your guys at a 20% disadvantage. Out here, go tag in. You come back in, relax. It's good.
Right.
And I get the joy from seeing those guys like coming off and they're smiling like, man, this is like the best day ever.
I agree 100%. Wow. Okay. So one of the questions was, Chris asked, how old were you when you started playing?
I was 18 this spring. When the first time I get to play paintball, whenever that comes up where I get to fire a gun, will be my 31st year playing. Dude,
congratulations on that. Okay, so let's give me a time frame. What when you went to college, you were 40. Well, okay, give me I'm lost here.
My 89 was the first year that I played. It was also the year I headed off to college.
89, right?
Yep.
So you're in that category of OG, kind of like 83 or 82, 83, kind of starting the sport. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got in right at the tail end of it when it was still very like there wasn't the refillable air bottles. We only had CO2. We had CO2 bottles, bigger ones, but it was either the 12 grams or the CO2. In my first 3 or 4 years of the sport, was the first guy that showed up that had the big gauge on his tank and a remote. And hey, I can go refill this from a scuba tank kind of guy. Right. And that was huge. That was like one of my favorite innovations in the sport.
Dude, that's cool. That is cool. Okay. So you you finished or you tried to finish, but you finished what? You were a sophomore. When did you finish?
I made it to junior year, and then
you can go back, dude. You can get your fucking A. Come on, get your credits and let's do this.
I don't need a degree to do what I do for a living.
No, okay. So it's not one of those burning things that are like, I gotta. Nah. Okay, cool.
Nah.
All right. So then you became a bouncer. You went to the dark side of life, which, you know what, everybody's got to do that. And I think it's fantastic because, again, it makes us who we are.
Can't find the light if you don't go to the dark.
You met Lonnie and then you jumped into this thing. And okay, so then let's move forward a bit. Did you play only in Wisconsin, or when did you go back to Chicago?
No, her and I moved. We started dating, and we moved to Florida for her to go to law school for a couple years, and we got married in that time frame. And I was playing down in the Everglades. There's a couple parks down there.
Yeah.
And we moved back up because we decided we wanted to have a family. She was pregnant, and we decided that it'd be better to raise our kids up in Wisconsin than Florida at the time. She would prefer that. So we moved back, and after we'd been back for a few years, couple years, it was right before the first Living Legends. The internet had been out for a little bit, but I hadn't gotten on it really or involved in it until about that time frame. And I found Spec Ops, I think was the page, like a group, and it was like a forum and all this kind of stuff. And I met a couple guys from Wisconsin who were talking about they had a team up in that area, and we're going to go to a game called Living Legends. And I had dabbled a little bit in some of these like one-day games up until that point, and this Living Legends thing sounded cool. So I went to the first Living Legends. Was my first real experience at like top level scenario game.
Dude, okay. So when you were playing in Florida though, I mean, great fields. Was it like a vibrant, community?
The one field that we went to a lot was really great. At the time, I had upgraded up to a Spider Compact because that was a pretty decent gun at the time.
Okay.
I was never one of those old guys. Like I started with pumps, and I was really happy when I didn't have to use them anymore. No offense to the pump world. I always hated that because I was one of those double pump and cram 2 balls in there guys, no matter how many years I played. So when the technology moved to, semi-automatic, I was thrilled. And I'd used that gun to the point where I actually warped the inside of the firing chamber with the bolt that I had to send the gun back into Spider.
Wow.
And while I was waiting for them to get me a new gun, I got my first auto mag. And they sent me a free gun back that I ended up giving away to somebody at the field because nobody had ever broken one of their guns that way before.
Wow.
So it was kind of a fun little feature. And then, it was a great field. It was in the Everglades. So, where the canals are and stuff like that, there's really steep canal banks. So there's alligators right down in these canals. Oh. And that's what they do is they cut all these canals around. They call it the water management district, but basically we cut all these canals, the water stays in the canals, which dries out the land. We have more land to use because the Everglades is all basically swamp.
Right.
So this way it allowed some extra land to be usable all over South Florida. And this was like barren land kind of on the backside of the Palm Beach Polo Grounds. It was like right by there. And it was just junk woods that nobody else was using, but you're playing in, palmettos and sawgrass and
wow.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Dude,
and,
were there alligators running around with your playing?
No, they were right like with the road we all parked on.
I mean, they didn't like a
canal. No, the bank was too steep. They couldn't get up to it.
All right, okay.
But they were there, and it was always kind of funky. And you had to if there was like puddles out on the field where you were playing, you didn't want to like jump into a hole without looking first because there might be snakes or something.
Wow, dude, that's crazy. Nice. Yeah. Listen, when I talk to people from Florida, I always tell them the same thing. I know you're not from Florida, but it's always the same thing of like, they have this game that's called, did it happen in Germany or did it happen in Florida? Right. So there's like these crazy kind of, did you find that the Floridians or kind of like it's a whole different world kind of thing?
They were pretty heavy duty players at the time. There was like a really weird mixture because it was all guys that were in their late 20s, early 30s at that time that were playing. And like it was firemen and policemen and construction dudes. Right. So the games were pretty hardcore. Like I was one of the youngest guys out at our field, and they were hardcore players. Like you could very easily find yourself with some guy, poking you in the chest about some play that happened out on the field because, they were more of a rough and tumble kind of group.
Right.
And, but it was good because I got diplomatic about beating people. Like I learned not to brag. You didn't brag as one of the smallest and youngest guys out there. You just kind of smiled and walked away.
Nice.
And, so probably in the long run, that helped me interacting with other players, especially when they're heated.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%, dude. When you were talking about CPX, I think 2015 or 14, I think that was the first time I learned about it. Now, Gary Baum, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's my best friend. And basically when, way before paintball, I'm like a real baby. I've only got involved in 2008. So from 2007 back, I've known Gary since like the early 90s, and he never spoke about paintball. It was like Fight Club, right? Because he's an orthodontist and
right,
wanted to, get involved. But he would we'd go mountain biking. We do all these crazy shit. And we just talk about life in general, never about paintball. And then when I drank the Kool-Aid in 2008, when I first played, I called him up immediately. I go, dude, do you know about this thing called paintball? And he goes, I know how you are. Just play it. Don't get involved with it. You know what I'm saying? Just
Right.
like, don't like, I know you're going to want to like start tournaments. And then I go, no. I love this thing. Right. And he goes, okay, go check out this site. It's called Paintball Photography. I go, man, this guy's good. And he goes, yeah, that's me. I go,
Right.
motherfucker. So we sat down and he basically, obviously my history with you guys is like Swiss cheese, but still he's like filling in the blanks about all this kind of stuff. And he goes, you got to check out one of these big games. And at that time, Living Legends was like, even, people all over the world were saying, Living Legends is the thing we got to go to kind of thing. So, I'm like, what is it? What is a big game? What's the scenario? I don't even know what this shit's about. So I started watching. And I think around, I don't know, it might've been 2014 is the first one I think I just went to. Actually, yeah. Okay. So I had started my WTL, the Woods Ball Tournament League in 2008. And then 2014, I started traveling for it. And I went to the Paintball Extravaganza in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was there, somebody was saying, hey, you should check out, this Living Legends thing. That was before I was really sponsored. So it was on my own dime. And I go, okay. So I did. I came in. Carrie was the promoter at the time.
Right.
And then, but what it was for me was a real eye opener of like, social media was kind of, it was, Facebook, that kind of stuff. So people were kind of getting to know who I was kind of thing. And I was meeting all these people, but I was meeting all these people that I've always seen, like Carrie, like you, like all these people, like, this is an amazing thing that all these people from all over the world get together at this one particular event. And they're like, and I'm like, I was really hooked. I was like, damn. I mean, because I'd only been playing like, rec ball around my area. But Living Legends was kind of like that big, kick in the ass of like, if you want to really get involved in our sport, this is kind of the thing. And
yeah, Living Legends and CPX combined is exactly how I got to where I am right now, was participating in Living Legends and doing well while participating and getting noticed for doing well.
For doing well, right.
At the game and playing well, and also, I guess, be nice,
being nice,
stands
right?
out sometimes, I guess, too. So
right.
Those things combined kind of got my foot in the door, and then getting to know the owners, the Dagnino family, they really, Paul Dagnino, who is still currently my boss and just a great friend too as a boss, he made a decision all on his own at some point that he was going to kind of poke me in the right direction and kind of, he's younger than me, but he took a very good decision because of his position in the sport to kind of guide my career down in a direction. And then it was great because he didn't do any of the work for me. He just opened certain doors and kind of introduced me. And then I had to do work while I was, in that room to get another door opened and so on.
Right.
But none of that happens if he didn't decide to, this guy's all right. And Kerry also is part of that. He allowed me to command Living Legends 3, even though I'd never commanded a game before.
Well, you also, again, that latchkey mentality, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Of like, okay, I've got this kind of thing. Instead of you like, crying in the corner going, why, this is too much responsibility. You're like, I got it. I know what I'm going to do. This, like this, I went, I got sponsored by Tittman in 2008, 2009, and they kind of really didn't use me for anything. And then until I started, again, proving myself. And then when it happened, basically, Eric Garbers in 2015, he sent me to the next Living Legends, and we set up a booth. And then he started seeing that I had a fan base and the whole big thing. And again, it comes back again to CPX and to Living Legends and to a boost in my career because of this park and this event and the Dagnitos. And you know what I'm saying? There was this kind of like this magic that was going on all the time. So when I was there, I was really involved. I had a great time. I met the Ghost Crew. I had all these people. But also what happened was Romeo from PBX came out. And he saw me. He goes, "I've seen you before. You're that guy in the poster, right?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Okay, we're doing an event in October called Clowns versus Zombies, and I want you to come out. I'm going to pay for everything." And I go, "What the fuck? I mean, this is what?" So then that started getting the ball rolling, because when I came out, other parks started seeing me and they go, "Okay, I want you to, like blah, blah, blah." So again, I have CPX, I have Living Legends, I have Dagnitos, I have Titman, all to thank for the place that I am in today. And again, there is something special about this thing, this CPX, this to rest in peace, but about the Dagnito family. I got to meet them through Gary, and again, I fell in love with the whole package. So in 2000,
that shows who they are as people, which is the neat part of them. Is they always treated Legends like the Olympics or like the Pro Bowl of football, because PBX, crosstown rivals, they literally came an hour away and did a lot of the stuff we did, depending on whose side of the story they copied us or they did their own thing. Either way, Romeo and TJ, don't get me wrong, I like them both. I get along with them both. My boss doesn't care for them very much, and that's Coke and Pepsi. And they know that, and they don't care for Paul very much, at least that way. But they always were invited to Living Legends and treated like the VIPs that they are. They always invited us out to their events because they understood the concept of, while we are rivals, just like Coke and Pepsi, the reality is there's still a respect factor for in ownership and in the sport. And that's one of the things that I always thought was great about Legends, is it became a neutral environment where no matter what rivalries you had, Valken was always invited to come and put up a booth at a majorly GI sponsored event. And they were welcome, open armed, please come and part of it. Because it just, for one weekend, all that politics, and paintball tends to end up having politics in it just like anything else, that all went out the window for at least one weekend a year, which was great.
Exactly. And actually, I told, when I heard a little bit about the situation between the two park owners, and again, I don't get involved in any politics. If you guys know me, I don't post online I don't get involved in the forums. I don't do any of that shit, but you hear things, right? So then when Romeo came up to me, he goes, "I want to introduce my name's Romeo. I'm from PBX." And I go, "Dude, are you supposed to be here?" he goes, "It doesn't matter." And I'm like, "That's great." And so I learned from him again. It doesn't matter. We're here to play paintball. We're here to have a great time. We're here to build our community, kind of thing. And I'm like, wow, this is really kind of cool. So yeah, I'm friends with Paul. I'm friends with the Dagnito family. I'm friends with DJ TJ and Rome. I'm friends with everybody. I'm like my shirt. I'm neutral, right? I don't give a fuck. I don't, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't get into any of that drama stuff. And I get, actually, that's about the only way you could really annoy me in the long run and have me not really like you, is to try to force me into your drama.
Right. Exactly.
I'm just not doing it. It does not have to be there. There's so few things in the world that are worth stressing over, and none of it is in paintball.
Right. I agree. Dude, we're there to get rid of our stress, right?
Right. That's the release. This is where you go to see, and I say this as lovingly as possible, all my idiot friends, and I love them, and I'm their idiot friend. And, we're running around shooting each other with, paint-filled little plastic balls and wearing funny outfits and being silly and telling stories. And I somehow, with 4 balls, shot 10 guys and jumped over this with, like Superman, and ran faster, and, all that kind of stuff. That's the best part about it, is it's the escape from the everyday stuff you have to actually take kind of seriously.
I agree. Listen, we're going to take a quick break for our sponsor. And who is this?
That would be me from Bones and Ashes this year.
And what do you wear?
Our Make Your Own Tracks wear. They contacted me and asked me if I would, because of the lifestyle I have when it comes to traveling and doing adventures, said it would be great for their brand, and wanted to know if I'd be willing to basically put their gear. It was like the best conversation, because it wasn't, hey, will you wear our gear so people will see our gear? It was, will you wear our gear and see if it holds up?
Nice.
See if it doesn't fall apart. So we can say, like, it keeps up with what he's off doing. And if that can do it, then it'll work for you too.
Very cool. Yeah. I like it. Listen, I've known Mr. Goody for about 2 years right now, and he just said, "Would you mind being our celebrity spokesman and promoting?" And I said, "Where do I sign?" Just like, I don't care. So we're gonna have him on next week. Actually, we're doing a sponsor show. We have a bunch of sponsors on, and we're doing a bunch of giveaways, which is gonna be kind of cool too.
Perfect.
So
yeah, you be the celebrity guy. I'll be the wear and tear guy. It'll work out perfect.
I like it. Okay, cool. You're probably going to wear and tear it more than me. I don't get that dirty, but anyway, yeah. Okay. So that you guys listen, that's makeyourowntrackswear.com, or you can check them on Facebook. And really good. You have a right here, you have a testimonial, and you get 10% off if you mention Reaper in the code. So go ahead and check out Make Your Own Wear Tracks. They're
also, if you mention Honu, just same thing apparently.
Ooh,
I just found out.
Your own code.
So,
okay, well,
Honu is a code. They also they do that too.
There you go. So mention Honu, mention Reaper. You got it going on. It's fantastic. Okay, so we now we're jumping to you played. They made you a like a commander in Living
for Legends 3, yeah.
And then Kerry. Now was Kerry the first promoter for it, or was the one before him?
Kerry and Wayne Dalek, who was Kerry's kind of mentor in it, if I understand correctly. I mean, I'm not 100% sure on that, but I believe that Wayne Dalek was kind of who helped kind of teach Kerry how to do it, and then Kerry, of course, put his own twist on it.
Okay.
They kind of co-produced the first one, and then Kerry was the producer of the game. We hired him in as like a vendor. He didn't own any part of the game, but he was the go-to guy in the sport to run the event up until Living Legends, right after Living Legends 9.
Okay.
We talked about having him come in for Living Legends 10. That was the original plan, which ended up being the last one at CPX. But we just couldn't come to an acceptable contract thing for what he was willing to do. We had run some games ourselves at that point, and we had some staff that we had in place that could do some of the jobs that Kerry's staff did. So we were trying to work out kind of a hybrid of it, and Kerry wasn't comfortable with that, and was it's either my whole crew or not my whole crew, which we respect, totally respect that. That's looking out for your people. And he eventually just declined to come back and run it that year. So then basically myself and our staff took over and did it.
I got it. Okay. So you're part of a long line of promoters. We have Wayne Dalek, we have Kerry, we've got you. Who else would you say was a promoter out there?
There's Red Feather, which is Chad out at Blast Camp, who does some really, really fun games. And there's some older guys that I don't know personally. I never played any of their games, but there was like MXS, I think it was called, and like Black Cat and stuff like that. And those guys, TB does games, stuff like that. And he's been around forever. He gets a bad rap sometimes, and depending on your interaction with him, sometimes it's justified, sometimes it's not. I get along great with him. I think he's a great guy. I joke with him all the time. I'm like, I like you, but I get why people don't. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, and it just is it, but he's unapologetically him and always him. And I respect that. I actually like that about him. That
exactly. I like that about people too. When they're wearing it on their sleeve. I like it.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of producers out there doing a lot of stuff. Some do neater games than others. There used to be a guy in the Midwest who doesn't do games anymore, who he was the only producer that like his games were neat, but he like tried to make them overly complicated for no real value. Like he just wanted to just make everything so hard, and it wasn't hard. It was just so complicated that they were impossible to do anything. And that's like the only kind that I don't care for. I like giving my people really challenging missions. Like I had to learn when I first started writing games I don't care if you get the points. Like I had to remind myself, I'm not trying to accomplish this mission. So if it seems difficult or they're going to really have to apply themselves, that's what I want them to do. as a
Right.
producer. As a
Right.
player, I'd be like, geez, that one's really going to be tough. But I have to remind myself that the players want to be challenged.
Right. Right.
There's in just a personal thought process, there was a right around the time that like Living Legend 6 to Living Legends 10, and not Legends itself, but games in general, they really watered down for a while there. There was a lot of tournament guys coming in and playing, and so I think a lot of the scenarios made the games a little bit easier, so more people, it would appeal to more people, because they used to be very hardcore type setups. Carrie's games back around the time of like Legends 1 and 2 were very complex and very intricate the way they were, not to the point of being like dumb for doing it. It was actually very challenging, and knowing the rules and reading the rules and understanding gray areas was a very important thing.
Right.
And then the game itself, just due to the player base, watered down a little bit. And then it's funny because I think it's gotten a real resilience now. I kind of went back to making tougher games and more missions and more puzzles and physical challenges and stuff like that, because that's the stuff I like to do. And it seemed to be what people were complaining wasn't in games. And so far, over the last 5 years, we've gotten a pretty good response to the way we set up the games and the challenges we put in front of the players.
I like it. Okay. So we're we have you as a player, a commander, and then Carrie says that this part's not going to work out, and then we have you basically taking that role. So the Dagnitos basically said, "Here, we're going to hand this to you." And I remember seeing you at, I think it was the last Living Legends at CPX, where you gave me my jersey for the one
for Dead Legends.
Dead Legends, right?
Yep.
We're going to do up north in Sacramento, by Sacramento.
Yep.
And I think that was the first time somebody gave me a jersey with I mean, seriously, I mean, I've gotten tons of them now from players, becoming part of their teams. But you drove up with you and Lana in your cart, and you said, "Here." I go, "What's that? Do I owe you?" And he goes, "No, this is for you because you're, part of this whole thing." And I go, "Motherfucker, this is an amazing jersey, right?" So Antonio and I both got one because we were going to be the pistol players at that event. And the event that we're talking about was Dead Legends, right?
Right.
Dead Legends. It was at Adventure Paintball. Was it called Adventure Paintball Park?
West Coast Adventure Park.
West Coast. Okay. And it was you guys, it was a very challenging game because we had a lot of rain.
It rained 9 inches in 48 hours. It
was crazy. And so it got to the point where they started even, there was like a log hill that they even made their own slide, and they were like doing, it was just crazy time.
Yeah.
It was, but you know what? The people came from all over the place to play in it. And the ones that played, it was an amazing time. But that was my first real experience with you about this guy that really doesn't even know me, but he just comes up to me and he goes, here's this like an expensive fucking jersey. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. So we played at that. I mean, we played, you were basically running that. Was that the last Living Legends, or was there one after that one?
Well, that was the last one at CPX. When we found out Carrie was not going to come back, and we were discussing, now what are we going to do? We had already been running Dreaded Legends down in Florida, and that was only myself and my crew, the CPX crew, doing that one. Carrie wasn't involved in that. He actually came out to the first one and played it, which was great.
Right.
But then it's a different animal, obviously. Living Legends, when at the time it's a 2,000 plus player game, and the game I had run a couple times at that point was like a 500 player game, 600 player game.
Right.
So the conversation, I got basically pulled into the office and, okay, it's you and your crew. Can you do it?
Wow.
And without any real knowledge of whether I could or couldn't, I looked at my boss right now and said, absolutely.
Nice.
And I'll figure it out. And we put a lot of stuff in place. We had a great event, and you were there. You saw how it kind of went. And at the short version of the whole story is at the very end of the event, without any prompting, something that's a tradition at Living Legends is everybody goes to the top of the hill at the end of the final battle, shakes hands, and hugs it out and all that. It's something that started at the very first Living Legends with the Godfather Sal, and carried over for years and years and years, and it's been a tradition. And so at the end of Living Legends 10, they all went up on top of the hill and they started shaking hands and hugging it out. And somebody just started chanting CPX.
Wow.
And TPX, CPX, CPX. And Zach Arbuckle, a friend of ours, got it on film. And as they're doing that, I was right up by the net, kind of watching everything going on, making sure that we were, everything was finishing up okay. Lonnie actually had turned, and the owners, the Dagnino family, were sitting in one of the golf carts right there by the field, and they kind of looked over, smiled, and nodded their head, and that was the greatest compliment I ever got.
Wow.
Just them nodding like, yep, you did
it. Dude, congratulations on that.
So, yeah, it was a cool moment when she told me that story. I didn't even know that they did that. She told me, she's like, they just smiled and nodded at me, and I knew. And I'm like, wow, that's awesome.
Dude, you got the golden handshake. Congratulations.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then then you decided you're going to take it on the road. Now you're going to go to do these things. Okay. I don't know if you can see. Can you see when I'm popping these things up? Did you see that? Okay. So tell me what this is.
That was going to be the logo for this year's Living Legends 13 in Chicago, but due to this whole COVID thing, we postponed it all the way till next year, basically.
Wow.
Just because there was the biggest thing that we worried about is almost immediately when you saw people were starting to postpone or reschedule games, they were starting to land on top of each other. Like East Coast Super Game is now the exact same weekend as Monster Game in Michigan. And you've been to that and you know how big of a game that is. Right. And it's hard enough to be respectful date-wise because there's only so many good weekends in a year for people. Right. And then when you start clicking major holidays off, like Mother's Day, Father's Day, 4th of July, that makes it even less weekends. And so you try to be respectful amongst the community. And to our credit across the board, most people are pretty good about it. There's only a few people that don't seem to consider each other on it, but most people do. Right. And it'd be one thing if I was trying to reschedule like a 300 or 400 player game somewhere. That wouldn't be as much of a burden on the paintball community itself. But if I land Living Legends on top of anybody else's game because of what that game is, I'm going to affect their attendance. Yep. And that's not cool. Right. To me, that'd be almost using Living Legends as a club or like in a bullying kind of way. And so, and when Paul and I discussed it, there was like no question about it on his mind or my mind that the very best thing to do was postpone it all the way until the following May and just get out of everybody's way. Take one for the sport, more or less.
That is so cool of you. That is just amazing.
Yeah, and it's our largest revenue by obviously a lot.
Right.
And the boss, like I said, I mean, it was literally a 2-minute discussion. I didn't know how he was going to take it, and when I was going to suggest it to him, and the funny thing is he already had it on his mind to suggest it to me. That's just the kind of owner that he is. He understands that for the best of the sport and for the players, it was the only move we could make that was going to, in the whole list of really crappy decisions you had to make, it was the least crappy one for everybody else.
Wow.
And so that's what we went with. And, again, that's where the loyalty I have for him comes from is, we come at it from different angles, but the mentality is the same of how we think we should take care of players.
Dude, that's awesome. Well, thumbs up.
Yeah. I like it. It's a great graphic too, huh? Brandon Page is my new graphic guy and he's killing it.
Dude, he's amazing. I mean, Brandon is, well, look, this is his too. That's why I'm wearing it.
Yeah.
I was giving him props.
Tipman Anarchy.
Exactly. Okay. So, let me pop up some other ones. You can tell me what these things are here. What is this?
That is just another version of the logo. That would be the profile style picture of the logo for this year. The main logo is the LL with the hashes on it. The 4 flaming stars are off of the flag of Chicago, has the 4 stars on it. So I asked them to make me a profile style picture and then a cover page type picture. And that's what the previous one was with the Chicago skyline.
Okay, tell us about this.
That's like, awesome that we get to go to Hawaii and play paintball in Hawaii and bring a bunch of our friends out there for like a playcation, we call it. Because, I mean, let's face it, I hope you're out there for the game, but I am also not going to believe you that you actually came there just to play the game. Maui is gorgeous. Some of the legit most energetic, happy players I've ever been around in my life are the locals. I mean, you see a bunker move in certain parts of the country and they both get up and they're kind of yelling at each other and kind of get pulled apart. I've seen guys rip somebody's head off and the guy gets up and is like, hey, great job, man. And just, awesome, you got me. And it's just such a great vibe out there. The owner is crazy in the best way possible. He actually comes out and plays. Like load him up with paint grenades, load him up with bang grenades, and out he runs like a wild man and just has an absolute blast.
Nice.
Just a great guy. The staff out there, Warren and Jessica and Chris and all those guys are just amazing.
What's the name of the park?
Maui Paintball Park.
Exactly. And D, what's his name? What's his what's the owner's name?
Clint Hansen.
Yeah. He's a cool cat.
He's great.
Okay, tell me who this is.
That's Brandon that I was telling you about. That is at Living Legends 3. That's me holding my winning commander flag, actually. And like I ran up like a little kid to him, even though I was 30 something, and I'm like, we won, and I was all excited. And he's just a great mentor when it came to how to treat people and stuff like that. He unfortunately passed away a few years ago.
Oh no.
Yeah, he was one of the signs that we had up in the city. You know how we used to have the street signs in Bedlam?
Right.
So he was one of the Legend Eternals. And at the very first the Hawaiian Legends, we actually, when we took the park down, I saved everybody's sign. Oh, and then I delivered his sign out to Hawaii to the guy that picked up Lance, who took over his park, basically his partner, and is currently running the park to this day. And the sign now hangs at his park.
Dude, that's awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
We saw each other again at the first Living Legends that you did at Hell Survivors.
Yep.
Yeah. And now that was kind of your first Living Legends or something?
Well, that was the first Living Legends that we took on the road. Like we've done the other games, and they average between like 300 and 500 players at the satellite games is what I call them. Right. The Dreaded Legends, Bones and Ashes and stuff like that. Bones and Ashes is going to be the next Living Legend size game. It grows by 100 people every year. It's just amazing. Nate's field is great. But back to Dave's field, Dave and Kelly are awesome. We were in the process between Living Legends 10 and Living Legends 11 is when we found out that we were going to be selling the park, the CPX park.
Okay.
And we needed a place for it to land. And Dave and Kelly were actually like our very first thought. It's one of the most legendary fields in the sport. Right. I think it's like one of the original longest lasting fields.
Yeah.
And Dave and Kelly, they're just two of the greatest owners. They have such a great attitude. Yeah. And they're very easy to work with, and the players up there are just a blast. I've gone up there for other games.
Right.
And so between that and the Mercs and some of the other things up there, they were just really the clear choice of where to go.
Nice.
To still stay generally in the Midwest, but make sure that people understood that, where we landed mattered for the year to show people that we weren't going to just let it go away. We wanted to make sure that we were going to give it what Living Legend should be, and a field like Hell Survivors is exactly the kind of place it should go.
Yeah, it was great. It was a big success. Everybody was happy. It was just amazing things. I was so proud to be a part of it. It was great. You just killed it. You, I mean,
appreciate it. That was great.
For being a, you're basically uprooting your lemon tree and then replanting it here, hopefully that it's going to survive. And it did. We just took it from here and put it to there, and bam, it was like amazing. So big props on that one.
Yeah, and it has a lot to do with the crew and Kelly and Dave for how their crew, how much they were helpful. Couldn't have done it without them just being 100% on board and working with us on literally every aspect, from parking all the way through air.
Nice. It was good with lots of parking.
Yeah.
Lots of camping, lots of parking. It was fantastic. Okay, cool. So let me know a little bit. We're going to jump around here. Let me
Mhm.
know who are these people?
That's Lonnie off to the right-hand side, in the hat and glasses. In the back is my oldest son, Duncan. And then in front is my youngest, Cade, who you will see me call Yoda a lot.
Okay. So when was this taken? How old are they now?
Oh gosh, that was Father's Day free day at the Milwaukee Zoo. No, when was that? That was at Cup? Okay, that was at Cup, I guess, 1 year.
Nice. Very
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. I have my boy is 23, my girl is 21, and being parents, both of us, we have to we try to give them the best of what we think we should be
Mhm.
giving them, and it sometimes works, doesn't work, whatever else. And it's like extremely hard today. Kids are much different with social media than when we had it back in the day, kind of thing. But you've been able to keep it together. You know what I'm saying? You're like no divorce. You know what I'm saying? That's like
No,
cool. There's a lot of
they're mini us. Like Duncan is mini Lonnie. He's very organized, very matter of fact, very no BS. Just everything's just so. He could come with 5 minutes of explaining what I needed him to do and work doing registration and all that kind of stuff. He's just one of those kids that can pick anything up. He's 20. He's moving out for the first time in his life to his new apartment at the end of the month, which
Nice.
he's super excited about. As a dad, I'm nervous about, but only because how it is. It's
I
more
know.
like I've seen him every day of my life, basically,
I know.
or his life. So
Yeah.
and then Yoda is graduating or this spring from high school, so he's going to turn 18 in next month, and then that's it. I got 2 adults, and that's why we're moving to Florida in May. Most likely is when we're heading out because we made a deal, and it shows who Lonnie is. When we first moved up here to have kids, like it was a big deal for me because I moved to Florida thinking I was never coming back to the
Right.
Midwest. I was going to live down there and be warm all the time. And
Dude.
I made a deal with her. I'm like, I'll agree to raise our children in Wisconsin all
Right.
the way through high school. But if I'm giving you 20 something years up there, I get 20 years in Florida before we discuss moving somewhere else. And she
Nice.
agreed. And to her word, Yoda's going to be getting out of school, and we are leaving within days of him being done.
Dude, that is crazy. Okay, so Lonnie, is she working in the law world, or is she a attorney?
Yeah, she's a legal secretary, legal assistant
Nice.
at a law firm in Milwaukee, and has been with her attorney for 20 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Her attorney had gone through, like, I always get the number wrong, but I think it's 17 attorneys. She's right here, so I can always ask her questions. So 17 attorneys in like a 10-year period got Lonnie, and they've been together for 20 years now.
Damn, dude, that's like the we always say in marriage, it's like the belt in the pants kind of thing. What an attorney needs, he has his mind on on cases and that kind of stuff. And then the legal secretary, that what Lonnie does, basically, she holds the office together. She holds his business.
Well, and it's the same thing she does for me when it comes to how we run the games. I mean, it's
Right.
a complete partnership. I'm the, I got a crazy idea. This might
Right.
be awesome.
Right.
Or how to implement a crazy idea that somebody else comes up with. She is the meticulous. Did we order the paint tickets? Did we order the player cards? Did we do this? Did we do that? This is how we're going to set up registration. She's great at making sure the flighty ideas is where I get kind of the wild ideas.
Right.
She's the one that makes sure that I show up to the airport on time. But I couldn't do that kind of stuff without her. She absolutely keeps all of that stuff, plus runs our house and takes care of the kids, all mixed into that too.
Got it. Who's this?
That's Larry McDaniels. He's the guy that does most of my tattoos, actually. He's awesome. He's one of my legit, everybody's got their circle of good friends, tight friends, people they know, and then the one phone call and dudes in the car kind of thing. And he's in the dudes in the car list. He's legit one of the best people that I know.
Nice. It's, you know what? Um, it's this crazy sport that we have that we actually, you know what? Okay. I've always put it to this way. Or people, I always put it to this way to people that in high school is kind of where you stop making friends. It's, you know, because you're condensed in a situation where you got to see everybody every day in a class or whatever else kind of thing. And it's kind of hard outside when you get, you know, maybe in college, but basically once you get out, if you didn't go to college, it's hard to make friends. You're busy, you got things to do, whatever, and then you throw us back into this paintball community and you're like, this is kind of like high school again. And we're kind of like, yeah. And we start making, you know, good friends again in this sport kind of thing. And the crust of our whole pizza is basically the sport. We love it. We love what we're doing. And then, you know, some of the toppings you don't agree with, but some of them, most of them are like, yeah. And then you find one topping that like pineapple on my pizza and you're like, I like this. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, it's like when you're talking about people that were like on sports teams and how they always say it's like a family, it's a brotherhood, it's a sisterhood, whatever you want to call it. Paintball ends up being that way because everybody migrates.
Yeah.
I can come to California and see you, but I might see you in Michigan. I might see you in Chicago. I might see you in Florida and see other people like that. And there's other people I only see at certain regional things and stuff like that. Right. But you see them at the same game every year then kind of thing. And with the way the internet works and stuff like that, you can build those relationships through shared experiences and memories. Like you said, back at the same level of like when you were in high school and you were almost forced into interacting every day. You know, we interact with each other a lot at these events. And, you know, the memories and the stories is what kind of binds you together that way.
Right. I listen, I agree. Shit, he's my oh, look at there. There's Zach.
Zach. Yeah, I'm his paintball dad, apparently.
Nice. It's cool. Yeah. Okay. So let me do
He's another one I really like.
He's a cool cat. Let me do this one here. Okay, we saw that, right?
Yeah.
Now, any of these guys you kept friends with?
Yeah, Jeff down in the lower right-hand corner is still probably, you know, in the grand scheme of life, my best friend.
Wow.
And we've known each other since junior high, like 6th grade, 7th grade.
Okay, cool. I like it.
We lived in the same neighborhood. His parents were divorced, so he'd come stay with dad on the weekends, which lived in my neighborhood.
Nice.
So, you know, I went through his bar mitzvah with him, and now I've gone to his son's bar mitzvah, which is also kind of funny, which led to all kinds of funny stories, and seeing both of his stepmom and his real mom, or however you want to say that, is original mom, or however.
Yeah, biological, right, yeah.
Who both, you know, my wife was absolutely expecting certain stories to come up from them, and thank God it's been enough years that the stories just kind of went, well, he was charming and entertaining, which is a nice way of saying I was a little shit, but I got out of it.
Nice. That's funny. No, that's true. Listen, we all have our past. We all have our whatever the situation is, and it's made us to who we are. So I never look back and blame anybody. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you can't. It's just that's
well, and that's the beauty of a guy like Jeff. I mean, we've known each other so long and stuff. We joke all the time. You know, we have so many things that make us opposites of each other. Right. I grew up Irish Catholic. He's Jewish. Right. So I'd go and get all kinds of cool Hanukkah gifts at his house. He'd come over and get Christmas presents at mine. Yeah. And growing up together, and like we think about politics differently. We think about all kinds. He loves Broadway and performance. He's the very artsy guy. Yeah. And is into all that. And I have an interest in it, but not near the way he is. But yet we can sit down and have the absolute best talks about everything. And because we've known each other so long, you know how it's like if you talk to politics to anybody now, even if they agree with you, you somehow end up in a fight with them at some point because you don't agree as far as they are, or too far for them or whatever. And him and I have great discussions and never try to talk the other one in the other point. You just try to want to see what the other guy is going on in their head. And he's still just like one of the best humans on the planet. He's a great guy.
It's good to have that, right? It's good to have that. Amazing. Okay, so let me hit on this. Obviously, you're confined, sequestered, quarantined, locked up. What are all these words that they're using? In captivity. Unbelievable. Yeah. Okay, where are you right now? Where do you live right now?
I live just south of Milwaukee, so basically right in the Milwaukee metro area of Wisconsin.
Okay.
And we're here for at least another month till my son gets out of high school, maybe
Okay.
2 months, depending on how it all jives out.
Right.
We just rented our place for Florida because we got such a great opportunity to get a really cool place
Wow.
that we're going to be paying rent at 2 places for 2 months right now, which is going to suck a little bit. But yeah, I
Okay.
couldn't pass up the opportunity to get the place, and it's great because Wisconsin is like awesome. Like my favorite place in the whole world is the Florida Keys because it's like the chillest place I've ever been, and it's
Right.
just nice and mellow. Wisconsin's that with not as awesome weather. You know, the people around here are great. It was the best place we could have raised our kids. You know, they could still do the lights come on, come home kind of thing. You didn't have to worry about where they were off to for the day and not hear from them all day. They were fine because, you know, Wisconsin. And it's great. And even with the COVID thing, it's not that. I mean, it's bad. People are getting sick and dying. But unfortunately, as you know, you almost start ratioing it to
Right.
compared to New York, compared to Italy, compared to anything. Wisconsin's not facing it nearly as bad as a lot of places. So it's unfortunate what's happening and that people are getting sick and dying. But in the scheme of things, we're getting off much easier than a lot of people.
I agree. Are you like completely locked down, or can you take walks or
We
what?
can go to the grocery store. You can go jogging. You can do that kind of stuff. Like when we're done today, whenever that is, if it hasn't started raining, we're going to probably go for a motorcycle ride because
Nice.
that's social distancing. There's no real contact with anybody
Right.
specifically. But you can go to the grocery store. Like the other day, we went out into a big field and we're just kicking a soccer ball around and that kind of stuff. But you couldn't go play like, you know, pickup hoops. They've broken up a couple pickup hoop games that people had going because you are too close then.
Okay.
So, but they're not like giving out tickets, or I heard they're giving out tickets for
In LA,
crazy stuff. And
you're locked. Actually, we have mandatory masks that started yesterday. Mandatory mask day. So, no matter where you go, shopping, whatever else, you have to get a mask.
we don't have anything like that up here where it's required. The grocery store said if they feel the need, they're going to throttle how many people can go into the store and how
Okay.
many people per cart.
Yeah.
And then we went grocery shopping, and they absolutely weren't even enforcing that kind of
Nice.
thing because it's Wisconsin. It's really chill.
Let me ask you a question about our community.
Mhm.
We've got like our, I'm going to put in air quotes, our celebrities. We've got our
Mhm.
promoters. We've got our whatever else, and let's just call them public figures, whatever they are,
Sure.
because everybody knows who you are. They know who I am, kind of thing. Whatever else. In another sport, such as whatever, basketball, whatever else, that kind of thing, a lot of times the celebrity or the sports guy would say, I'm not your role model. I don't, I just doing my thing. And I'm always saying, well, if you're at a point where people are looking at you, you are kind of a role model and you've got to act responsibly. So in our sport, we might have some people who are role models, whatever else, who are kind of not taking this very seriously. Do you know what I'm saying? It's maybe flipping their nose at the whole thing, kind of thing. In our community, which is small, a lot of people are sequestered. They're locked in, that kind of thing, and some are just saying, "Hey, look at me! I don't have to do this." Like, I like that, and it makes people pissed off because they're like, "We've got to do this." So what I'm saying is, you feel that people like in our, just would you use our community as an example, that we need to help each other. We need to provide a good role model, provide a good example. What do you think that we need to do? Do you think we should?
Well, it's tough because I agree that if you have a certain, I guess, following of like people are aware of you, like you said, like you're, let's just say, prominent in the sport, like you said, celebrity or any of that stuff, or legend and those things. When somebody's a legend, if you have to ask whether or not that person's a living legend or the sport or a Hall of Famer,
Right.
if you have to ask, you're probably not.
Right.
Kind of thing. You know what I mean? That's how I've always done when people have, contacted me, like, how do I go to Legends as a legend? I'm like, if you have to ask,
Right.
And I'm not trying to be rude about it. It's just, that's reserved for the people that really are those people. Now, like you said, we have personalities that are personality, celebrities, whatever. The only thing that I would disagree, and I agree that people follow us and what we do can set a tone for things. I don't agree, just like with other sports people, I don't think any sports people should be role models. I don't think actors should be role models. I don't think each person's got to pick their role model, whoever that is,
Right.
to them. My role model was, like I said, the old guy, this little old dude who used to smoke, unfiltered Pall Malls and work on his car every weekend.
All right.
Looked like Popeye. He was 5 foot tall. His upper arms were as thin as your wrist, but his forearms looked like the biggest bodybuilder you ever saw in your life. And the guy never needed a pry bar to work on his engine. Like he was just old man philosopher, Chicago style, just stop you and like, you want to know about that? I'll tell you something about that. One of those kind of guys. But he was great about that. That's who I looked at as a role model of what I should do and be. And I always am concerned when somebody's like, oh, it's okay to look up to somebody.
Right.
But everybody's got their flaws.
Right. I got it.
So if you're into soccer and you were a huge Dave Beckham fan, you can be a fan of him, but that doesn't necessarily mean he should be your life role model.
No, I understand. But
and that's how I look at it. Like I know I kind of know who you're talking about, I think, when it comes to who's out attacking life, we'll call it.
Yeah, Greg, go lock yourself in the house, man. Come on. Man.
But you know what though? He is one of the healthiest human beings I know.
I love
at his age. He's our age. He's in incredible shape. And if it was warmer, I'd probably be doing more of what he's doing than I would be doing here. I hate the cold. Like I'm going to go for a motorcycle ride because it got above 50 today. Like, that's not warm, but it's warmer than it's been. It snowed like 2 days ago for a little bit. So to me, he's not really actually social interacting with a lot of people on the stuff he's doing. He's going diving. He's going fishing.
The governor closed the beach, and then you're still going to go doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but he's making a choice. That's a grown-ass man.
And I know it is, but I'm saying, Greg, if you're watching, which you probably are, listen, I'm saying that there are other people that are watching, and they're. I mean, I know people in Canada who are like, "What the fuck?" Like they're completely panicked. So I don't know. I'm just asking.
I think that's more other people's hang up than theirs. Greg going out doing what he's doing, is not going to get that guy in Canada sick.
No, it's not.
So, and if Greg gets sick, I would, and I love him. He's a buddy. Yeah. But I'm like, well, see what you did, dumbass? And that's exactly what I'd say to him. And Greg, you know him. He would look at you and go, yep, I did it. Sure as shit.
Distance and the pictures and videos, he is keeping his distance. That is all 100%. Yeah. But I'm saying, though, when the government says you can't do something, and then you say, I'm going to do it anyway, do you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. There's kind of like,
he's taking his own risk that way. That's no different than if you got a friend that's, into smoking weed or something like that. You're breaking a rule, or you've had a couple of drinks at the bar and you drive. We all know you're not supposed to, but I know a lot of people that do.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like it's the same idea. And
we listen, Greg, we love you.
Yeah. I'm more like, go do your thing. I'm a big middle of the road kind of guy. If what you're doing doesn't directly affect me,
I'm with you.
I don't have any say in what you're doing, and I don't want to have any say in what you're doing. I don't want you to have any say in what I'm doing.
Right.
Because goody two shoes thing, like I said earlier, I called the local police department and said, okay, my son wants to move on this date, which was at the beginning of this month. And I also want to go kick a soccer ball around with my family. And they said, well, if you could hold off moving for a month, that might be helpful, because it was kind of when Wisconsin was sort of peaking or really kind of ramping up. They're like, but if you're going to go stand in the middle of an open field with the same people you're sheltering in place with, that's okay. But I actually went and checked what I could and couldn't do. Is somebody going to stop and give me a hassle? And that's kind of how I do stuff. He's more of the,
I know.
I'm living life. I'm going to do my thing. And if I pay a bill for it, I walked out the door knowing that.
Right. Well,
I don't have a problem with that.
Greg has always been that way, and he's always been the alpha male entrepreneur. I don't give a fuck. I'm just going to do it. And you know what? And it's made him great. You know what I'm saying? That's what's kind of made him great, because he just doesn't give a fuck.
Right. And I don't want him to change.
Yeah. No. And you know what? We need more people like Greg Hastings. Not to buck the system. I'm just saying that, like, I'm just going to do this thing. I'm not going to need anybody's approval. I'm just do this thing. And I think that's great.
Every once in a while, the system needs a little bucking anyways. I mean, we're not talking like go rob a bank, but every once in a while, it's okay to just, rock the boat a little bit, and Greg Hastings was made for that. That's exactly why he's on this planet, is to rock the boat and find every possible way to interact the human race with paintball in ways that nobody would have thought of. Video games, motorcycle, whether people liked the bike or not, or thought the idea helped or didn't, it's not because he wasn't trying to do something. You know what I mean? And the video games and all that kind of stuff. Whatever he's doing it to find a way to make a living at paintball and to get paintball out to the masses.
Right.
And he doesn't have a switch. You can't turn it off. He doesn't have an off switch.
He doesn't have a no pitching switch.
Yeah, it's like I can sit down here in the house and basically behave because that's who I can be. I'm kind of the go with the flow guy, so that's okay. Greg doesn't have a go with the flow.
No,
Greg is the keep up if you can guy.
He's making the flow, and you've got to stay in his wake.
Yeah, keep up with him or get left behind, and that's just who he is. And I wouldn't want him to change one red hair on his head.
Look at this. This is one of my philosophies actually too. It's better to get forgiveness from somebody than permission.
Oh, absolutely. That's John. That's one of our great referees out at Hawaiian Legends. In fact, he's one of the best guys to have around because he called me up. We got in touch with each other shortly before the first game because he wanted to know of all these crazy booby trap, like paintball style and airsoft style booby traps that he wanted to use out at the game, and like had a whole list of them. He's like that evil scientist wizard guy that's like, oh, watch this. And so we had him ref, but I still let him set up all his booby traps. Dude, so he had like paintball claymores out there and smoke bombs and all kinds of stuff. And him and his wife are just awesome. They dress up as Mr. and Mrs. Claus every year and go do charity work and all kinds of stuff. They're just great.
That's the big thing about our community is charity. We're all in it. I mean, we're all these do this. Tell me about this.
That is my motorcycle and my modern day Pirates vest out in front of our apartment.
You guys have two motorcycles or just one?
We have just the one.
Okay.
We have just the one.
This is what, a Harley?
That is a Honda VTX 1300. Like a 2004. We picked it up used a few years ago.
Dude, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I've taken it all over the country on rides. We've gone to Sturgis with it. We've gone to the Dragon Run a couple times with it. We took a big trip up by Hell Survivors in Michigan with it.
Okay.
Lot on the bike and just that's paintball used to be my release.
Yeah.
To go and get away from my real life. Well, now paintball is my job, and it's the greatest job ever. I wouldn't trade it. I love it. Nice. I love what I get to do, but it's hard to go to a paintball field and be anonymous now. And I don't mean that in a egotistical way.
No. I don't mean, yeah.
I have to still be customer service guy.
Right.
And when I just want to go shoot a couple people quietly and walk away, but it's hard to go to a place. And I know that this sounds so, egotistical and crappy. And I don't mean it to be.
No, dude, it's a filtered show. You're speaking from your heart.
It's difficult to go and be anonymous and just be a face in the crowd and play some paintball and not need something. And, oh, hey, I didn't know I'd run into you, but could you help me out with this and help me out with it? Which I love to do. But sometimes it's nice to not be at work for paintball. And my job doesn't have hours. I'm on all the time. So the bike is sort of like when Ryan Sexton goes fishing, it's kind of my church. I can get on the bike. Lonnie and I go and we just kind of unconnect. I don't have a radio on the bike. I don't have cup holders on the bike. It's you ride until you're thirsty or you have to go to the bathroom and then you stop and discover someplace new.
That is so cool. Have you been all the way down to the Keys?
Yes. For one of the winter dreaded Legends games that we had down there, one of the pirate games we had down there at Punta Gorda, we trailered the bike down, left the truck at Punta Gorda, and then rode. We got remarried for our 20th wedding anniversary at the game, and then we had our own little second honeymoon by riding our bike all the way through the Keys down to Key West and back.
Dude, cool, right?
Oh, it was awesome. It was great. We stopped and went we just kind of found all these cool places, a little cool place to eat, found a place you can go on an airboat and, kind of hang on to alligators and do that kind of stuff. We met up with some paintball legendary player, John Navarro, down in Miami, and he took us out to we're in like the little Havana area kind of thing. So he's taking us to like all these great little Cuban places and all that. And that's like you said, that's the best part of this world is there's almost nowhere you could go in the country or even the world at this point where you don't know somebody.
Right. Exactly.
And you usually get along with everybody in the sport. It's, I'm sure there's people that don't care for me, but I'm very lucky that I think there's a few that do. And so lucky enough to have good, cool friends all over the place.
Right. I used to take it very personally. I mean, because you can't go to school to become a celebrity. Do you know what I'm saying? There's like nobody, like there's no class you take. And then all of a sudden you're given, or this thing happens to you. And then I've seen basically in our sport is that sometimes when people become of a certain level in our sport, if they were asshole to begin with, they're gonna become a bigger asshole afterwards. You know what I'm saying? But if you're a nice guy and you're like, you go, wow, now I can give back and I can make great things happen in the position I'm in. That is fantastic. But you know what? It doesn't matter how nice I am. If I did make a wish, whatever, you still get haters. You still get people who are like, fuck this guy. I don't like his kilt. I don't like this. I don't, and you're like, I don't know what to do. And then you finally go, I don't care. There's nothing I can do now.
Well, you can't control how other people react. I mean, you and I've talked. I have people that are my friends who have given you crap. And, you and I have always talked and hung out and stuff. And I just don't care. You've been nice to me every time I've dealt with you. I've seen you be nice I've never seen you be crappy to anybody. So how can I say there's anything wrong with you? You know what I mean? You're not doing anything wrong. Right. And when we were at Hell Survivors, I think it was the last Monster game that we were both there together. I shot you in the village. You were in the church or coming down the path from the church. I shot you. I came right up afterwards. I wanted my shoot you card.
Where's my card?
I wanted a card. And I don't care that we're supposed to, that they're probably meant for, the other players and stuff. I'm like, this is fun. This is something with a friend of mine. I am absolutely going to go claim my kill. I want my card.
Dude, thank you very much. Yeah. So you know what? It's interesting that you get to a point like us and we just like, you know what? We can't, they're probably us haters but there's nothing we can do about it. But you know what? If you and I stay our path, you know what I'm saying? You just stay your path. You just do what you're supposed to do. Do what's from your heart. The community is going to benefit from it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's happened. We've basically helped the community. We're both nice guys, but our sport is very adrenaline based, very like, fuck you, like this. And we're coming in just like, we're just nice guys. Yeah.
And that's the thing that you gotta always remember that it might not have anything to do with you. I'm lucky that I'm not really a celebrity in any way. I'm just kind of known. And it's because I'm sort of the face of the CPX games. You know what I mean? Right. I mean, there's plenty of people out there now. There's a generation of players that's never even seen me play really, which is what I was sort of known for. They only know me as the guy that's done the producing of the games. And so I like that I'm not a celebrity because I don't really like it. Like I have to get up in front of a bunch of people and you want to sit there and BS at a bar or around a campfire. I'm your guy. I'll talk all night.
Right.
You want me to go up on stage and do the regular speech and it's, I have to stay focused on a certain topic or something. I hate that every time I have to do it. It's just not my thing. Wolf is great. You give Wolf the mic or like Energy One, he'll get up there and they'll just go, man, just talk and get the crowd all hyped up. I'm like, could you see me trying to be like the hype guy? Like, come on, woo, let's go. Everybody like, you all right, man? You okay? It's just not my thing. I'm more like, hey, did you have fun? Awesome. Cool.
Right. Okay. So let's talk the last part about these guys, Modern Day Pirates.
Oh, okay.
Okay, cool.
They're
so
awesome.
When did that start?
Trucker and Rocky came up with the original idea. They've been talking about this philosophy they had at life for a while, the two of them, Trucker Billy and Rocky Cagnoni. And they had this philosophy on living your life a certain way and adventure and taking care of your community, but basically just, when you die, make sure you lived every last minute of your life kind of thing. Don't
Right.
look back once and be like, gee, I just kind of worked my whole life and watched a lot. Nobody on their deathbed, or at least nobody I know, is going to be like, man, if I could have only binge watched a little bit more of, Sex in the City,
Right.
and maybe there are people like that. I don't know. And if they are, and that's their thing, then great. But they started doing about it. And if I remember the story correctly, Rocky Trucker had the philosophy that he was kind of out there with, and Rocky put a name to it. He's like, dude, we're modern day pirates. We're out there living like pirates used to in a modern day world of this life of adventure. And you grew up in the age where in the 80s where they had No Fear was a big thing. Like No Fear was a brand, an actual branded of shirts.
Right.
And people used to say that like people say YOLO or other different things that they say now and stuff. And they're, and this is just a personal thing, and I hope I don't offend anybody, but there's a ton of people in the whole wide world that no fear, man, and no fear, and yeah, absolutely, I'm down, and to death, ride or die, kind of stuff like that. But as well as I do after years, and you were in the military and one of the toughest militaries in the world.
Right.
You understand that of all the people that talk about it and say it, there's a really small segment of the world that actually lives in a mentality of
Right.
no fear. There is no, absolutely face it. And that uneasy, uncomfortable feeling you get from it, that's the treat. That's the money, because that's that feeling. Some people hate that feeling and other people relish that feeling. And that was the theory behind the modern day pirates in general. And I really gravitated towards it. And I was very lucky to be asked to be part of it as it got going. I wasn't one of the very first original. I think there was like an original, like 15 people.
Okay.
I was invited to be part of it in like the next wave after that. And I was very honored that I was invited in. I mean, it was a really cool feeling that, I started looking at who these people were, and they're your honest friends, the friends that are not going to tell you what you want to hear. They're going to tell you the truth.
Right.
And I love those people, the blunt, real life, real people with all the bumps, all the bruises, all the scraps. There's not a single one of them that's even remotely close to perfect. And that's why they're awesome.
Good.
And they're just out there living the best life they can.
Are you in the order?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Is there another level above that one?
Yeah. I don't know how much of that we're supposed to talk about. So there's Vanguard, which anybody can be Vanguard. Vanguard is, if you think what MDP is about is cool and interested, you can, buy MDP gear, just like if you were buying a football team jersey or something like that. Certain gear is available to you because you think the thing's cool and their thought process is good. If you want to get deeper involved, you join the order of MDP. They do a background check on you. They make sure that you're, an all right person, and things like that to kind of invite you. Now you're kind of getting invited into the clubhouse,
right? Exactly.
Type of deal. And there's things, and then there's other things, after that. But the big saying that they have is anyone can join, not everybody can stay. And you actually find out a lot about who you are and who other people are as you kind of watch their journey in the group. And there's different levels of people in that group. But when it comes to how hardcore doesn't have anything to do with, oh, this guy's crazy and he does this and he does that. That's not what I mean by hardcore. I mean, the people who are the really going out there and just taking a big bite out of life. And when it's all said and done, there's going to be a very small list of minutes in their life that we're sitting on the couch, not doing anything.
Right. Exactly. Very cool. Where do we find these guys?
You can find them on Facebook under Modern Day Pirates.
Okay.
That's the quickest way to find it. They have a Facebook page, and you can send them a message and talk to them. There's also, I think, what is it, MDP Crew? Yeah. The website? MDPcrew.com is the website where you can buy gear. You can kind of read up on what they're about and the pillars of the mentorship, self-improvement, adventure, charity, and community, which are the kind of pillars of the whole thing. And you can even look in there to apply to join and go a little deeper into it and stuff like that. It's an adventure club. That's the thing people need to understand. It's about living the most out of your life.
Dude, amazing.
It's great.
Let's just recap. Did we leave anything out? Is there anything you want to talk about?
No, that's pretty good.
We covered everything from your diapers to living legends. So
right. So we got to have Lonnie peek in. So peek in real quick. No.
Let's say hello.
Peek.
Lonnie.
Hang on.
Oh.
You got to peek. So, proof of life. We do everything together.
Hey, Lonnie. How are you?
He is. Okay. They're proof of life that we still do literally everything, including interviews together.
Nice. All right. No, but did we leave anything out? Did we cover all the bases?
No, that was everything. I think that was a whole bunch. I mean, we can always talk again sometime, but yeah.
Dude, always. I mean, and you guys, again, if you guys out there, if you guys want to come on the show, anything you guys want to talk about, the show is for you, by you. What is it? For the players, by the players. I love saying that, but it's basically this show is for you. The sponsors are paying for it, so come on, you guys, jump on the show and let's
Monitor
talk.
Make your own tracks wear. We got to thank Mike
right?
and his partners for doing something. I mean, that was one of the things that was really neat about it is when he asked me, Mike, he's really legitimately one of the nicest dudes in the sport. He's just such a super nice guy. And when he offered when he asked me to, like, if I send you gear, will you basically try to trash it and see how well it holds up doing what you're doing? And I said, sure. And I love the idea that I can help him maybe meet his dream. I'm living my dream of what I'm doing. And he loves what he does, but he'd love to do something more. And I'd love it if that I can be a small part of helping him do that.
Dude, it is.
Oh, yeah. Steve Solo's talking about our next game. So I should probably, put on my CPX hat and plug that Dreaded Legends is June 19th through the 21st in Myrtle Beach. And right now we got permission from the city at this point. We can host the game. So we're going to do it.
Very cool.
Because the field is just outside the city limits. So we're good.
Yeah, and again, this group, the social distancing group kind of thing, you guys, even if they blow the whistle, unless they found a cure for this thing, even if they blow the whistle, we're all going to get something, because if you're going to go play again, somebody's going to have something. So they can't keep us locked up forever.
Right, and we're going to take a bunch of steps. Like when we were not quite ready to postpone Legends yet, we had looked into a whole bunch of stuff. We actually had been in communication with the Department of Health in Illinois and what we needed to do. When we do Dreaded, there's going to be hand washing stations everywhere and sanitizer and everything we need to put people in the very best position to avoid anything that's out there, let alone the COVID stuff. And we're hoping that by June and the temperatures go up and all the different things that at least the smarter people, the Dr. Fauci's and those people are saying that they're hoping is going to all come into play, should all be in play by the time of the game. We also decided for the good of the players also to make sure that they didn't feel obligated to do anything yet. We suspended changing any of our pricing. So we left it at the early bird pricing, and it will be the early bird pricing right up till game day. So that way, at any time, nobody has to rush out and commit to anything. If their individual state or area is put them in a, we don't know when we're going to let you off lockdown or when you're going to be allowed to travel or any of that kind of stuff. Nobody has to commit to anything. And I got to put this money out there because this due date's coming. There is no due date. The day before the game, you're still paying the absolute cheapest price. So by the day before the game, you should know if you're coming or not. And you can get online and still pay the absolute cheapest price to attend the game. That way you don't have to worry about it. We're going to be flying blind when it comes to how many porta-johns we need and washing stations. So we're just going to overbuy and just make sure we have enough and go that way.
Really great, you guys. It's big hearts there. It's fantastic.
It's the sport, man. This sport's given me literally everything that I have in my life right now is based on that. I picked up a paintball gun and started playing and was lucky enough to be successful when the right people were watching.
Dude, congratulations on that. Where do we find? Is there one location we can find everything about the Living Legends, all the legends? Where do we?
Yeah, the easiest thing to do is to look at there's a Facebook group for every one of our games, so you can look them up by name. There's also our main page, which is CPX events. That's on there, and you can also look up CPX tickets to sign up for any of our games. Currently, the only one that's open at the moment is Dreaded for registration, but we also have Endless that's at OXCC coming up in October, and Hawaiian Legends comes up this February, and then we'll be back for Bones and Ashes in March of next year. Living Legends will be back on, and so on. You know, we're assuming this whole thing is going to get fixed, and everybody's going to get back to whatever the new normal is, and we'll adapt just like the players are going to adapt, and we're going to be what we talked about at the very beginning of this, how this whole thing started. We're going to be your relief, your release from your normal everyday dealing with stuff that makes your life hard, and make this be I get to take a breath and just enjoy my day.
Whew, unbelievable, dude. Almost 2 hours. How do you feel?
I'm good.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Have you ever had an in-depth like that where everybody gets to know your background and everything?
No, because usually, you know me, I usually kind of deflect it off of me because
That's true.
I don't like talking about myself all that much, and I'm not that entertaining, I don't think.
No, come on.
I'd rather see other people. It's normally just, I'm normally not the topic. I usually just, I want to make sure that the people around me, which are who help me do all of it, make sure they get the credit they deserve.
You've on this interview, you've come off very narcissistic and egotistical.
I know my team makes fun of me all the time. If somebody wants a picture or an autograph or something, then for the next half hour, they call me diva.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's an inside family thing. My son does it all the time. If I do that for somebody for the next half an hour, my son is just all up and down me with the whole, come on, diva, let's go.
Nice. Very, very cool. Okay, my brother, listen, we're going to pull the plug on this one. We want to thank everybody. We want to thank, again, our sponsor, who is
MakeYourOwnTrackswear.com.
If you either put in Honu or you put in Reaper, you get 10% off on your purchase. They have some amazing clothes, so you guys go check them out on Facebook. And we will, I guess, see you at the next event that I'm ever going to, whatever event I'm going to see you at, I'm going to see you at that event. So
we'll see each other sometime this year. We always do.
And so that's it, you guys. Okay, listen, you guys, I'm going to play some the outro, and also don't Hanu, don't hang up. Okay. Just
everybody hang loose. Thanks for listening to me and Reaper. Have a great day. Stay healthy.
Bye, you guys. I'm going to